Hey guys, welcome here with my morning coffee. So sorry if I sound a little bit rough or if I don't look too fresh. It's early morning, but I kind of was so excited about this that I wanted to jump on straight away and share this with you. So I have a little project coming up and I would love to share more about it with you. I have teamed up with Ultrahuman, which offers a continuous glucose monitoring. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience with tracking my glucose and how I'm going to use this to kind of enhance my performance, learn more about myself and my nutrition. Yeah, so let's unbox this thing, get this hooked up so I can start sharing stuff with you. So you get it here. It's a nice looking package with the sensors inside. Let's see if I can get this out of it. There we go. The packet looks like this. So let's apply this thing. So I got my guide here to how I'm going to do this. So first of all, there we go. I must admit I was actually quite scared of that one, but it didn't actually hurt. And here it is, inserted. And let's put a band-aid over it, covering it up. And then we should be all set to go and to set up the application. Before we dive into this video further and my review, I want to bring out 3 disclaimers just to make sure that we're on the same page. And the first disclaimer is that Ultrahuman is not paying me for this review. This is an unpaid video. They did generously gift me with 2 sensors, that's a month's supply, as well as access to their premium application. So I have access to all the articles and all the good stuff on the application, but they're not paying me for this review. So what you're about to see is just my honest opinion about using the application and how beneficial it is for me. If you, however, want to contribute towards me continuing doing reviews and videos like this, you're more than welcome to use my affiliate link. That doesn't really give you any discount, but it does give a little kickback percentage towards me, where I get a payment if you use my link. So I'll use the link in the description below, and if you want to support me to do videos like this, you can use my link. The second disclaimer is that hormones, glucose, all the internal stuff in our bodies is highly individual. So you cannot use my results to make changes in your diet because your body might respond differently to different type of nutrition. You don't have the same body, you don't do the same workload, you haven't done the same exercises as me through the past 10 years. So make sure you use the advice like it can be used. And that is to kind of see the flow of like how I'm investigating things, how I'm reading the graph and so on. But if you want to make any big changes in your diet, you're going to have to monitor your own glucose, and you can't just take my readings as, perfect science. The third disclaimer that I want to put in here is that if you have some kind of a troublesome or triggering relationship with food, if you're currently dealing with an eating disorder and or have a difficult relationship with certain food groups, carbs, overeating, undereating, binge eating, whatever it may be, then a glucose sensor is probably not the way to go for you, and it's probably actually going to make your relationship with food worse. So make sure that if you're struggling with any type of like triggering relationship with food, that you see a licensed professional and don't use the glucose monitor to kind of try to work your way out of that. The 4 research questions that I had it out with on the top of my mind when I wanted to engage in this kind of research with this glucose monitor was, number 1, I have questioned for a very long time how stable my blood sugar actually is. Because, you know, it's a joke amongst my friends and my family, but like I tend to be nicer and kinder when I'm well fed. I also experience this like crazy moodiness / grumpy crash periods if I'm not fed regularly. So I was kind of interested to see how is my body actually stabilizing my blood glucose, how is my insulin and glucose levels actually throughout the day. The second research question that I have is Metcons and CrossFit. What's the best pre and post workout nutrition strategy for me? How can I kind of make sure that I'm performing my best in those sessions, especially now that I've reduced my volume of CrossFit? I want to make sure that I'm showing up 100%. So I wanted to kind of check what can I do to tweak my nutrition around these sessions. The third research question is my endurance training. Currently taking on triathlon training, so I'll be doing some more longer cardio sessions and endurance sessions. I want to see what's the best nutrition strategy for me, how much carbs should I be consuming every 20 to 30 minutes, and how can I fuel the best possible for my Olympic triathlon in January. The fourth research question is my mood, productivity, and ADHD. I struggle tremendously with brain fog and difficulties with concentration at certain times of the day. I also struggle a lot with my concentration related to sugar intake. So if I, for example, indulge in cake and whatever the night before or donuts, then the day after I will be feeling lethargic, I'd have brain fog, I'll have struggle concentrating, and I really struggle with getting motivated. So I kind of wanted to see is there a relationship between low blood sugar and these moodiness, or is it imbalanced, or what is it about? That doesn't have anything to do with each other basically as well. So I'm going to be very interested to see what kind of insight this sensor can bring to that one. Okay, so let's move on to the lessons in the first 5 days. First of all, the shipment arrived the day after the guys agreed to send it to me. So super fast shipment. It was super easy to get out of the package. Very convenient and easy manual to kind of apply it at the back of your arm, and it wasn't even painful. I was actually expecting to be in pain, as you can tell, but it actually wasn't that bad. It comes with multiple patches to kind of put over the product to make sure that it doesn't move, and I haven't really felt it at all as I move around and navigate. The application itself took a little bit of time for me to get used to and get into, but once I started logging things and tracking things on it, it kind of was very straightforward, and I find the application actually quite good. It both gives me updates and notifications and suggests reading material and more sciencey, deep articles on different phenomena, depending on how my graph is tracking. But my personal learnings in the first 5 days is that nothing spikes my glucose levels more than my workouts. So high intensity workouts seem to do something crazy to my available glucose levels. And even though I read that that's super normal, that it spikes your glucose, it has something to do with catching the available ones from the liver and making it available in the bloodstream for the muscles to use, then I also have experienced that this is kind of what gives me that extreme crash later on in the day. So usually right after my lunchtime high intensity workout, I have this like absolute brain fart of an afternoon, and it is worse on the days where I do more high intense stuff. My blood sugar drops all the way through the floor, and I find it very hard to kind of manage my recovery after the workout. So I've been testing out a couple of different things, and I will have to wait until next week to kind of give you an update on what's been working for me to avoid completely falling through the floor after my high intensity workouts. The second lesson that I learned this week is do not skip meals. I had a little bit of a difficult day where I was in meetings past my lunchtime, and then I ended up coming home for lunch about 3 hours later than normally. And instead of like having a meal at this instead of having lunch at this meeting, I ended up having a coffee, and that kind of like completely set me off. And my blood sugar was super difficult to stabilize for the rest of the evening. And I had like massive cravings, something that I haven't had in months and years. So lesson learned, don't skip my meals, make sure I eat lunch. And if I have a meeting at lunchtime, make sure it includes lunch. Another thing that I have found impacts me a lot is caffeine and coffee. So coffee on an empty stomach or like after a meal seems to spike my glucose significantly. And what I have noticed, like I'm reluctant to like admit it, is that I've been using coffee when my blood sugar is low. So instead of like eating something or, you know, making sure that I have had a healthy nutrition, I've kind of just been like doing my workout, eating lunch, having a massive crash, fueling myself with coffee, and then like getting on with the day. And like I question how healthy that is, because I often feel kind of like stressed, anxiety ridden, and like drained for the rest of the day when I do this. And this was kind of like shocking to see in numbers what that looked like. So I need to do some more experimenting with proper fueling strategies to make sure that my blood sugar doesn't fall all the way through the floor. And I ideally don't want to be like forcing myself to keep going with coffee and caffeine. So that was kind of like the 3 big lessons this week, or the 3 big issues that I ran into. Now, I'm super excited to continue tracking with the glucose monitor. I have scheduled for the weekend some long rides, runs, and strength training, and I'll continue to kind of experiment. And then next week, my triathlon training starts. So stay tuned for next update, and I will give you all the details on what I kind of find. Hope you find this useful, and as like I said in the beginning, if you are interested in joining this kind of like a self-research project with me and do this as well, then use the link that I have in the description, my affiliate link to purchase your sensors with Ultrahuman. I get a small commission off it because I'm not being paid for this review. I'm just doing this out of my own interest and allowing you to follow along with me. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.